Hey there, kids. Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha, and it's Friday. Hi. Yesterday's stream, man, we struggled mightily with creativity, coming up with ideas and everything like that. And that's just, lesson to be learned, I think. Everybody, even me, has a bad day. So it is what it is. We kick the can down the street and we keep moving forward with this thing. So we're back in it today, and we're going to keep kicking this thing in its ass. So, like I said on the stream summary yesterday. But, the worst part about it is that as hard as it may be, you can't get discouraged by a bad day. I find myself getting discouraged by those bad days, but, I have to get over it and keep moving forward, So, this thing isn't going to build itself, that's for sure. Hang on one second here. Oh, okay, cool. Amber's on her way home early, so she just texted me. Cool deal. All right, so, Giovanni, oh man. He says, hello everyone, can we start with a moment of silence? My Lakers got unalived last night at the hands of Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh man, sorry dude. I feel like we're all living vicariously through Giovanni here with the basketball playoffs and everything. So, oh, dude, sorry about that, man. Sorry about that. Ay. So it's a new day. I actually worked on this thing a little bit off stream yesterday. I had to. I had to get out of my own head and get kind of the creative juices flowing, and I think I have a pretty good plan of action here at this point. So I'll show you that here in a moment, and I think this will look good. A small change of direction, nothing crazy, but a small change of direction. So let's get caught up just real quick here. Let's see who we got. Lorenz, what's going on? He says, morning guys, Akira's Collectibles, howdy, welcome back. Brandon's with us. Juno, what's going on, man? So let's see. Brandon says, my Pistons are still going strong. Juno says, I'm in Philly, 76ers and Flyers, kick the can. Giovanni says, at the end of the game, I was calling the Thunder Daddy. Wow, dude. Wow. Oh, man. Sorry, man. That's terrible. Like, when your team's that close and they shit the bed. Oh. Trust me. I know the feeling. I'm a Ravens fan. So, I'm all too familiar with it. So... And then also a Baltimore Orioles fan, which we're not even going to talk about that one right now. Anyway, all right, let's get it going, yeah? Let's get it going. Whoa, Chris Reniger, what's going on? Well, good morning. What's going on, buddy? Brandon says, being from Detroit, that's our yearly experience. Nice. All right, you guys, let's show you here. Oh, new transition. I forgot about that. We have a new transition. I didn't feel that the old kind of staticky transition blended well with the transitions for Super Zoom and Mega Zoom. I also lowered the volume for those, of you that wear headphones. Let's test it. All right, so there's the Super Zoom, lower volume. Mega volume I lowered a lot because that was the big culprit here. So here, let's test it. Yeah. So much lower at that point, right? And then the standard transition will be this. Yeah. So all of it blends together, right? So yeah, all of that blends together. The transitions are, you know, more cohesive at that point, and yeah, I think that'll be the way to go from now on. So yeah, everybody's like, way better, that's gooder. Way better, much nicer on the ears. Yeah. Shin Georgie says, hi all, it's really cool to see the live streams back. I'm excited to watch before I go to work. Sweet, welcome dude. Thank you for hanging out with us. So yeah, we're just getting back to working on this damn weapon here for this Hyaku Shiki. So hang out as long as you can and enjoy the show. So here we are. All right, so cap this first. Chisel discipline. All right, so as you can see, I've cut bits off of here. All right, so this is basically going to be our new shape for the weapon, right? Actually, this is 2 pieces of styrene here. So I duplicated both of the outer walls, right? So a couple things that I did here was to bevel this front section a little bit. I think that gives it a much better overall look. And then I raised this this level here up by 1 millimeter, and yeah, I think that gives it a much better look. And then what I did was I went digging into the parts bin, because you know this is the handle for the original Aura gun that we're basically kind of remixing here, right? So I went digging into the parts bin and everything, and for some reason I found a runner from a master grade unicorn. Mind you, and this is the crazy part, I have never owned or own currently a master grade unicorn, but I have a runner with the frickin' bazooka and, you know, beam magnum on it, and I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, this thing right here, and it's not 144, that's 1/100 right there. Master grade 1/100, and I don't know where it came from. maybe maybe Gundam Santa brought it and left it for me one night. I have no clue. But looking at it, you know, obviously I don't have any other runners that I can find from a master grade unicorn. So what I did was cut out the back end of the beam magnum, right? And I really like the kind of overall look of this. It's kind of got these little weird bits that, you know, stand out on the side and everything. The grip is the perfect size for the hand and all that. Yeah, I mean, that's really a solid look. And then what I kind of did was to kind of look at all of this together and kind of go something like that. Right now, obviously my thumb is in the way, but yeah, you kind of get the picture there. So yeah, I think I'm going to explore this a little bit. And the cool thing about this is that here it is. So these bits on the side here, you can put a 3mm rod through there and have like another kind of cool detail, right? So I think that's what we might do. I kind of dig that look, you know, have these like an offsetting color, maybe red or something like that, right? You know, just on both sides. That's just, yeah. I think it looks cool. So I'm going to explore this a little bit today. I think I got the mojo back and everything, and we're gonna start to kind of bring this thing together a little bit here. So yeah. Excuse me. Let's see. Oh, I hear an Amber. Hello.
Hello.
Say hi to everybody. I am. Let's go. Camera 1. Who does Amber have?
I have sushi again. I had sushi last time. I had sushi.
Aw. Hi, Sush. She's a good one. How was school?
It was good.
Yeah? 1.5 weeks to go.
Yeah, next week is our last full week.
Oh my God.
Yay!
Oh my God. Last full week of school, you guys. And then you're graduated.
Yeah.
Insane. All right. You have work tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you going to Simon's at all? Okay. Can you get your chores done for me? And the dishwasher too.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye. Oh man. Good stuff, you guys. Good stuff. All right, let's get caught up real quick before we get to work here. All right. Scuffles is with us. He says, "Morning, everybody. Tim, have you ever seen the Eufy Make printer? I have not. I'd love to see somebody use that to print directly onto a Gundam." What? A Eufy Make printer? What is this? I have to look this up now. Hold on. Eufy Make printer. What is this thing? First personal UV printer. What? Interesting. Okay. Interesting. All right, what are we? Ooh, the price tag. Oh boy. Ooh. $2,300 for this little personal. They mark it as the first personal 3D texture printer. Huh. What? Okay. So it can do. So it can print 3D texture. That's interesting. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so basically it looks like it can mimic like brush strokes, especially like oil on canvas, those types of things. Interesting. Huh. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, that's a bit out of my price range, I'll be honest with you. Michael Dawson's with us. What's going on, Mikey? PTS is back with us. Hello again. I did some panel lining with my God Gundam. I think it looks really good now. Sweet. Sweet. Michael Dawson says, "Oh, Tim's in the closet about having a few unicorn kits." Yeah, right. No, dude, I've never bought one. I don't have one to my recollection. And I've never owned one either. So, I don't know where the damn thing came from. Gizmo says, trying to think what other kit would use that runner. Yeah, I don't think that there is. I think that is a unicorn specific weapon at that point. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Brandon says hello. Congrats on your upcoming graduation. Tim is going to be a wreck. Yeah. Loren says also that cat is cozy as a motherfucker, right? Brandon says it's a UV printer. Same process used for all the custom Game Boy shells and stuff. Nice, dude. That's an interesting technology, I won't lie. And then we have Snoring Lasagna. Hi, Mr. Tim. It's Simon. What's going on, Simon? Good to see you, man. Welcome to the show. Hang out with us. Good deal. All right, so you guys, let's get back to camera 2. New transition for those of you who missed it. Boom. And Mikey says, do you have a master grade narrative by chance? No. I do not. Honestly, I think I might have gotten it from like donations, like a parts dump or something like that, maybe back in the day. But I have no freaking clue. I have no clue. So, all right. So you guys, we have kind of a plan of action here. We're going to meld these two together. Now, basically what happens at this point is that this is no longer a scratch build. This becomes a kit bash. Potato at this point, but still, I'm kind of one of those purists that, you know, if it's a true scratch build, man, it's got to be like 95% like plastic sheet, you know. These little bits, you kind of skirting, but man, when you bring in other parts and everything, yeah, this is a kit bash now. So not a big deal. I don't really give a shit, but in terms of classification, yeah, I think it does matter in my opinion. And I may be a stickler at that point, but so be it. So, all right. So here is the original Oregon, right? That's kind of what we're basing things off of. And then this here is going to be basically the new remixed version of the Oregon, you know, our version of it. So with that being said, we need to get these two pieces apart. I've already made sure all of the edges are square, clean, smooth, all of that. These are tacked together by just little drops of super glue. Basically, it's called tack welding. And we should be able to... no, that's too small to flex and everything. So not a problem. What we'll do, let's get the 1, 2, 3 blocks in here. So we have a nice surface. And basically what we'll do is just find the gap between these two pieces of plastic and pop our knife in here. And it should, yeah, you hear it. Boom. Yeah, see? Just the teeniest, tiniest of drops of super glue. And that works great for tacking these pieces together and being able to duplicate them one-to-one. There we go. There we go. And now we have two perfectly mirrored pieces, perfectly duplicated. So that's all looking good. All right, so let's get the block out of the way, and we need to figure out our width on this, right? I think what I wanted to go with was about 6 millimeters. Now, before we get into that here too much, I want to expand the peg holes here so this is a bit easier to take apart, so there's no breakage or anything like that. So let's see what size we're gonna need for the most part here for this. Probably this little guy right here. All right. No, it doesn't work very well now, does it? All right. So one of the things that I do when I'm assembling, when I'm snapping a kit together, is I always expand the peg holes to make it easier to take apart, right? Because as you could see, you know, throughout this process, there's a lot of taking apart, putting back together, taking apart, putting back together. That's normal. So that, you know, will eventually put wear and tear on these pegs and peg holes. So I do like to kind of expand them a bit, just so that this process is much, much easier. There's one little one down here that I'm gonna have to change bits for. Let's see, what size are you gonna be, little guy? All right, there we go. All right, so let me show you real quick what I kind of did here. Let's go super zoom. And so here's pretty much what we did, right? So all of the peg holes right here, you can kind of see now have, yeah, so you can kind of see now has like a bevel, like an inner bevel there. And up here too, you can kind of see it. That makes for much, much easier disassembly. This thing goes together. It still holds real nice. That's not, you know, that's not coming apart. That's together. You even hear the kind of squeeze to it, right? But now, when we go to disassemble, see how it just kind of pops apart there and it doesn't give much resistance? That is an absolute necessity when you know, doing customizations and things like that. And yeah, it just makes life so much easier. Oh, this one wants to be stubborn now, doesn't it? Yeah, this one wants to be a little stubborn bastard. All right, no problem, no problem. I got you, I got you. There we are. Oh, I missed that one there. That's why it's a little stubborn bastard. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, you know what? We missed you. We're not going to miss you now. I'm talking to the damn thing like it's like I'm Bob Ross. There we are. And I'm just using different sized Dremel bits here just to kind of expand those holes. And you don't want them, you know, expanded too much to where the piece just falls apart. That would be bad, right? So with this, watch now. So that just, it goes together. It still has a little bit of bite, right? But it's not anywhere near what it was. Now, some people will cut the pegs at 45 degrees. That's another way, but I don't prefer that over this method because with that, if you cut it wrong, you're completely SOL. With this, you know, you can still get glue in the peg holes and it will hold perfectly fine, right? Yeah, with this method, see how it just comes apart like that? Super easy. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, little trick there from Uncle Tim. Expand the peg holes a bit, make life a little bit easier on yourself. All right, let's go back to camera 2. All right, and let's see. Do you know that bit you just spoke of would be great for a short clip? That's a technique that not many people talk about in Gunpla tutorials. Yeah, you know, that's kind of on the list of things to tape or video. Yeah, Jesus, what am I thinking? Drill the devil out of it. Yeah, yeah. Bob Ross mecha building has a nice ring to it, right? We don't make mistakes, we just make happy accidents. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I need a drink. I am parched. Oh my God. I don't know why. Very dry today. All right, so with that being said, we want to use this handle. We want these side bits here to essentially slot in here, right? So what is our maximum width here? That's what we need to figure out. That is 5 millimeter. Okay. And then for reference, what's the width here on the Aura gun? That is 6.5 millimeters wide. So, okay, so we need this to be able to fit in this kind of slot here. We need this to be, what did I say, 5 millimeter? Yeah, 5 millimeter. Yeah, I think that's a good width. We could always modify that out with different levels and kind of thicken it out a little. So, but yeah, okay, so we'll go with that. All right, so what we will need then is our 3.2 millimeters. That's our boy right there. That's our boy right there. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start to make a skeleton out of this. So we're going to put, some inner pieces here, just down the line here, and just as our kind of fill-in pieces and everything, and then we'll be able to stack the other part on top. That will be our basis for our weapon at that point, for the front of the weapon. Excuse me. And then after that, we'll come back and we'll kind of do the final plating for kind of all the way around and everything. So that's the plan here. So with that being said, what we need to do, and this doesn't need to be, a super intricate thing or anything like that. Perfect. So we get Colin's scribing jigs here, and if you don't know, now you know. Colin, Mr. Hi Craig, has created these scribing jigs and a bunch of other tools. Man, go and jump on that if you want to get a set of your very own. I posted a link to Colin's store in the YouTube community, so it's in the posts and all of that good stuff. So go take a look if you're interested. It's really, really good stuff. They come in very handy, not only just for scribing, but for measuring, like we're going to do here too, right? So I have the 1 millimeter scribing jig here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this up here and just run a line all the way around the perimeter here, and that will be our glue line for our for our strips and everything. And what that'll help us do is get everything properly set for the the plating that's coming down the line and everything too. So all right, so here you are. All right, so we're just going to use our little pen scriber here, and we're just going to mark a line down the perimeter of this thing. So okay. So, you guys can't see it. What am I thinking? It will be so blown out, it's not even funny. But basically, we're just putting in a millimeter scribe line here just for marking purposes. This isn't going to be any sort of, you know, line that we're going to follow or anything like that. We are just simply measuring. We're going to go all the way around this perimeter here. Even the little bit, even the little bits here. Okay, and then do the inside piece here. It's a little tricky, isn't it? It's a little tricky. Very nice. Okay. That looks good. And two more surfaces here. We'll just eyeball this little indent there. That's a little too small right now for us here. Very good. And last one. And then we'll get to plating. Very, very good. All right, so we've got our kind of glue line all the way around. That's looking great. We have a point of reference. So, excellent. Excellent. Real quick. Life Does says, hey Tim, greetings everyone. Tim, I sent you a picture and a video of a weapon I think would fit the Shiki theme perfectly. Oh, dude, yeah, I saw that you had messaged me. I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at it though, so I will definitely look at it here after we get done today. And sorry about that. Yesterday was kind of busy as shit, and after the stream yesterday, I was just like, kind of, you know, down on myself and everything. So I will take a look at it here after we get done. All right, so what we effectively did was we made a glue line to help us out when we go to glue up our walls, our plastic wall here for this thing, to make this into a box essentially. Because that's what we're doing. We're building a box. This is what it's going to become. All right. So with that being said, which route are we feeling here today? Yeah, we got to go plastic magic. I'm still not fully comfortable with my placement of things. Now, the reason why I reset the blocks here is because I want two clean metal surfaces, right? So I'll show you why here in a second. So we're gonna get our plastic magic. We're gonna get our part here. This is the one. Nope, that's not. Oh, it's the other side. Whoopsie. All right. So first thing we need is a strip. We need to get the chopper involved here because we need nice square pieces. So we're gonna move all that crap off to the side, all the tools and everything, and then get that off to the side there, and then boom. And now this doesn't necessarily have to be perfectly measured because we can trim everything up at a later date, but we do want it to be as close as possible. And actually for this, I don't Yeah, I do want to use the... well, no, fuck it. Let's go freehand. We're gonna raw dog this bitch. There we go. So there's that piece. That'll go up there. And then... I'm gonna reverse it this way. Actually, nope, I'm jumping the gun here. I'm jumping the gun majorly. All right. All right, let's get rid of the chopper because that's just taking up space. And then let's get this guy in here. There we are. Let's kind of get that at a better angle so you guys can see. Let's see. Hey, Gary's with us. He says, hello. What's going on, Gary? Nice to see you, man. Giovanni.
We have a question.
Boom. So, Giovanni says, so the numbers on the jigs is the width of the smallest side. Generally, yes. So, now, when you get up in the sizes, in the size range, like 6.5, it's hard to tell because, you know, there's that, right? But it's always going to be the side without the number on it is going to be your measuring side, right? So, say for instance, there's your 1.5, or yeah, your 1.5. This side without the number is going to be your measurement, and it's going to be the inside measurement, right? Let's see, what's a good example? Let's see, here's like a 3.5, right? So you see the inside underneath here, that's 3.5 millimeters. This here is probably going to be 4.5 millimeters, simply because you have to take into consideration the thickness of the the plane down here. But the inner bit right here is going to be 3.5 for this one, for that one. So it's always the side that doesn't have the numbers, Giovanni. So yeah, that's the way to go on that. All right. It's all good, Daddy, Mecha Daddy. What? Yesterday was a cluster sparkle for me as well. Yeah, dude. It seems to be the theme. All right, so we've got our jig set up here, and as you can see, we are going to use this right angle for gluing. And where are my tweezers? Here we go. And we're going to get this piece locked in there like that, and then get our plastic magic. All right, and let's get to gluing this guy together here. Now, again, the reason why I'm using plastic magic as opposed to, say, super glue right now is because I still don't trust my placement of parts just yet. All right, and then we're going to get this set right up in here, and then we're going to press that down and back into the wall so we have a nice square edge there. And then there we go. All right. So even if the glue squeezes out on the other side and, you know, onto the wall here, since this is metal, this will just peel right off, essentially, right? And then that will leave us with a nice right angle piece there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. We'll go with that. Now, the important part is to scrape off the squeeze out between glue ups here, because that'll cause problems down the line. There we go. And I think what I might do, excuse me, is to maybe use super glue for the smaller runs here. That top one, I was like, I don't know, that can get a little, could get a little hinky there, but I think we did good with that. Let me just press this down here. Now, if you have a handle like this, this is, you know, from USA Gundam Store. This is the knife that I use and everything. I just prefer it. I like the weight of it and everything. Now, on these kind of design handles, right, you do have a back end that looks like this, and this actually serves a purpose, right? This can be used to kind of press things down, kind of, you know, kind of as a helping little hand. And that's kind of what I just did with this piece here, right? So we've got the blunt end here, and I was just kind of pressing this down into the plastic at that right angle, and then coming back and just kind of squaring it up and making sure, because, you know, you try to get your fingers down in there and your fingers are too damn big and blah, blah, blah. This is just a really, really nice way to kind of just push things into position where you need it to be, right? All right, so in there is our nice right angle, right? So great thing about using 1, 2, 3 blocks. These are an invaluable part of my, you know, toolkit, if you will. So, Life Death has a question for everyone. What's your favorite Seed Zaku backpack armament? Mine's the Slash Zaku, but I also love a good Zaku gunner. Oh man, from Seed? Shit. From Seed. What was the one? Fuck. It was a custom Zaku. I think the girl's name started with M. It was like a burgundy kind of Zaku, and it had the big canister on one side and the big fucking gun on the other. That's just a dope look in my opinion. So, Luna Maria, thank you. I knew it had an M in there somewhere. Yeah, thank you, Lorenz. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, just that big canister with the, you know, the belt feed coming out of it and the big, like, gun. Oh, yeah. Be still my aching heart. Such a good look. Such a good look. All right, so we continue onward. And now, basically what we have is we have our outer wall for the top part here. And then what'll happen, since we need 5 millimeters of width, we're using 3 millimeters on the inner wall, and then these two pieces are 1 millimeter thick, so that will get us to our 5 millimeter you know, width that we're going to need, right? So that's kind of why we're using what we're using. So Life Death says hers was a custom Zaku gunner. Yeah, I like that. I like that look. Yeah. Mike Dawson says, I just had an idea for my current remix build, create my own detail of the Alex's Chobham armor. And I never know how to say Chobham. Chobham? 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 Whatever. Into the High News armor. Some of the High News armor is crazy large, like the back skirts. See? See? Mikey, you're starting to think like a modeler now. I like the direction, dude. I really like the fucking direction. Yeah. Julius has a...
We have a question.
Where can someone get that mechanical pencil looking pin scribed? So this, right? So this is kind of Frankenstein's monster a bit for me, right? The scribing tip that I had was from a metal scriber that I had lying around, and then the handle of that broke, right? So the tip was still good, right? And this is just a fucker. This is just a, you know, a mechanical pencil. But here's the, you know, the scribing needle that I had, right? It has, you know, different angles. This is a finer angle. This is a wider angle. And I'm like, okay, so this part is still good. I don't want to go out and buy just some brand new, you know, scriber. So I just bought you know, handle, a artist's mechanical pencil handle. And this is like 2 millimeter in diameter, and this can fit up to however big that is, right? Looks like the alien mouth coming out of there, doesn't it? Bleh. Bleh. Sorry. Stupid. But yeah, this thing works great. Just got to get it. There we go. So yeah, so that works, and it obviously, you know, grips the needle very, very well. Let me see here for you though, Julius. Let me see, because I think I bought that off Amazon, but let me double check here. Who is this by? This was by Uni. Mitsubishi Uni, basically Uniball. Let me see if I can find it here for you. I'll get you a link. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so this handle cost me like $5 on Amazon. Let me get you the link. Hang on. All right, and there you go. That's the the Uni lead holder pencil, 2 millimeter. Yeah, it's basically straight off the boat from Japan. But then you're gonna need the needle part to go with it, right? Let me see how much. Let me see if you can get a needle scribe from Amazon here. Yeah, it doesn't look like you can buy just the needle. Actually, wait a minute, what is this? Okay, actually, hold the presses. This may be better. Is this tungsten scarf? Yeah, okay, cool. So, all right, hang on. Let me get the link for the. Come on, go back up. Stupid. All right. This here is basically an all-in-one. Boop. This actually is probably going to be a better deal. This is 20 cents more than this guy, and you actually get two holders, and then you get 10 replacement needles. And looks like they're tungsten carbide, so yeah. I mean, even if it was just steel, it's not a big deal. You're just scribing plastic at that point, right? So yeah, that I'd say the second link that I just posted probably is going to be a better deal, honestly. So yeah. Let's see. Mikey says, I was going to say Gun Primer has one, but not for $5. Yeah, yeah. One I got from Gun Primer has the pin, blade, and guide tape, though. Yeah. For this is just for marking that I use this for, and also to punch like little pilot holes if I really need an accurate placement for a hole that I need to drill. So I'll use this kind of punch into the plastic to make a pilot hole, and then that way the drill bit won't, go all over the place and freak out and all. So yeah, these definitely have its uses, 100%. All right, so getting back to our boy here. Now what I want to do is definitely square up one end on the chopper here. There we go. All right, so since this comes at an angle, we need to cut it a little proud of the bottom here, because we need to think about the angle. So I'm going to cut it right about there, and we're going to leave a few millimeters overhang on this, right? Just like that. See how it hangs over that angle a little bit? We have to compensate because we're going to be cutting this at an angle, and what we see from this edge is the lower angle. So if we were to cut it there, we'd have a gap as that angle descends, right? So, okie dokie. So, with that being said, let's, this is the square edge. Yes, it is. All right. Let's get that in there. All right, we're going to go ahead with super glue on this one. Is it clogged? Yeah. And this is another good use for it, unclogging your super glue. Just pulling out that schmutz in there. There we go. And since this is metal, super glue comes right off of it. It's great. Anyway, all right. Let's get this back up in here. There's our square side. And all right. All right, here goes nothing. Oh, actually, hang on. I need to get a little super glue on the top. Okay. All right, here we go. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing here, but speed is of the essence, so I gotta have a good angle on this thing. Alright, and there we go, and then this should just, yep, pop right from there. Nice. Alright, alright. Getting that mojo back there, boys. We're getting that mojo back. Alright. Nice right angle on that. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so we continue on. Now, the drop angle here, we need to do a little bit of compensating when it comes to cutting our strip, right? Because we need to angle this strip down this way to meet the angle of this, right? So let's square up the end here real quick on the chopper. Boom. And then what we'll do is take our sanding block here and just hang this, kind of hang this over the edge here on the 1, 2, 3 block, maybe by a millimeter or two, right? And what we're gonna do is just come at this thing from an angle like this, and start to bevel that down. Damn, that's actually square. I didn't expect it to be, simply because I'm eyeballing it here. And then that is getting there. All right, let me try. All right, because we needed a little bit of a steeper angle there. All right, we're not there yet, but that's looking pretty close. We're right there. Needs to be just a bit steeper. Okay, let's see what that looks like here. Not too bad, not too bad. Let's fine-tune this thing a little bit here. Okay. There we go. Well within tolerance. All right, I'm happy with that. Well within tolerance. Okay, so we'll get our piece right about there. All right, so orientation of this piece is very, very important, so we need to keep that in mind here. Okay, so this is our glue edge. There we are. Alrighty, let's right, now, unfortunately, since we have this overhang here, I can't easily square this up with the 1, 2, 3 block. Maybe if I hang this over the edge a little bit, maybe, but that's a little bit hinky there. Oh yeah, that's a real hinky. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good though. All right, so we've got our box kind of taking shape here, right? And then what I'm going to do is just a little dab of super glue right in there. There's just a tiny gap, and like I said, well within tolerance, because the angle wasn't 100% perfect. So we use little super glue to fill that in. Good to go. All right, next we're gonna keep coming around here on this thing, and we're gonna need another angle here. All right, let's square this edge. Now, keep in mind, when I'm squaring one of these edges here on the chopper, I'm only cutting off maybe like 1 millimeter off of this, so there's not really a ton of waste or anything like that. So just keep that in mind here too. All right, so we want this thing, since this is more kind of a inside piece, and this can come up, you know, into the body more. It's not, huge deal if it, encroaches inside. So we can cut it kind of generalized length. So I think we're gonna go with about that. Cut it. And there we are. Let's get caught up here real quick. Let's see, Benny Young. Hey Tim, any recommendations on how to cut a perfect circle from plow plate? I've seen tools for that, but some of them are crazy expensive. That is a wonderful question, Benny. Let me show you a couple things here. The thing to keep in mind is this. Chances are, even with the best tool in the world, you're probably never going to have, well, I should say you're never going to cut a perfect circle straight out of the gate. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Unless you have like stupid expensive machines to do it for you. It's just one of those things that is insanely hard to do on the scale that we work at, right? So let me show you some options here. If I can find it, okay, so first one obviously are your good old circle templates, and this is a good one because it's metal, so that's a good start. And then the second one is that type of deal there, right? Excuse me. So let's talk about the template first, right? So what I would do, well, what I have done many times in the past, is to kind of get the thickness of sheet that you want, right? And then come in here and then with like a pencil or pen scriber or something like that, mark your circle, right? Now the good thing, let's go super zoom so you can see a little bit more detail here. Now, the good thing about these types of templates is that they have your, your markings on all four sides. Your, what is it, compass markings, top, bottom, and side to side. So what I always do is I mark those into the plastic. So for instance here, I would do this, and then bottom, top, side, side. There we go. So now you have, your layout and everything, right? And then what I'll do is to connect those points like that. And like that, right? So now you have your center point, or roughly your center point marked out, right? So once you have that, you can cut this out just jagged, willy-nilly, yada yada. You don't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect straight out of the gate, right? Where is that damn thing? Here it is. Okay, cool. So what I'll do, this here is, there we go. This is called a mandrel. You can get this in pretty much any generalized, Dremel bit set. You could probably get them, individually too. Essentially, this is just a Dremel bit with a screw on top, right? That's it. That's all that it is. These are more for holding their cutoff wheels and things like that. But what I use these for, especially with kind of larger diameter circles, kind of like this. This was like 13 millimeters, something like that. Drill a small hole into the rough circle and everything, and then you can pop it into the mandrel, and then you don't even need a Dremel. You can use like a little hand drill or something like that, and then you just start it going and start shaving everything off, making it perfect, all that good stuff. You will get a perfect circle eventually if you have steady pressure and everything. You can use sanding blocks, you can use a file. I wouldn't use a knife for this because it'll fly off and much chaos, but that's one way. Then you have to worry about going back and filling the hole that you drilled into your perfect circle. So not ideal, I get it, but none of these are going to be ideal. Now something like this, which is, let's go back to this camera too. Something like this is more of your kind of compass circle cutter, right? And this is actually a really good tool for cutting circular masking tape and everything. One side has your compass pin, the other side has your blade there. Let me see it. Yeah, there you go. So and then you adjust it by loosening the tension and kind of getting the it's not the diameter. What's half the diameter? Shit, I forget. Anyway, whatever. I forget the term. So basically you put your pin on the center, measure out to the edge of the circle that you want to make, and boom, tighten that down, pop it into your circle, and go to town, right? Now I'm using pretty thin plastic here. This is 0.5 millimeter, but that'll put in a nice edge, and you can keep going around. I just did one rotation, but this will score and snap. I don't know if you guys can see the edge that it's snapping on. Yeah, a little bit. There you go. So that's another way. These are a little bit harder to get, not as accurate in my opinion. And yeah, for bigger circles, this may be the way to go. You know, if you don't have a mandrel, or if you don't want to, you know, do the filling or anything like that. Now, obviously, these circle templates only go up to, this one goes up to 27 millimeters, which is pretty freaking large, in my opinion, in terms of, you know, hobby uses. But, you know, those are the two ways that, you know, I generally cut circles and things like that. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps. So, all right. Good question, though. Good question. Cutting circles is a absolute pain in the ass. Radius. Thank you, gentlemen. Charles and Lorenz, thank you. Radius, the radius of the circle. Half of the diameter. There you go. So, yeah, cutting circles is always problematic. It's just a pain in the butt. It's something that we got to do every now and then. The drill bit mandrel process, I find, is a bit better. You got to be careful, though, especially with thinner plastic, because that'll wobble and it won't be great. But with thicker plastic, you know, millimeter plus, you're going to be perfectly fine. But then again, the wider the diameter that you go, the more chance that it introduces that wobble to it, even with thicker plastic. So just something to think about. Just something to think about. So, Shin Georgie, I've got to head to work. I'll see you later. Lots of fun hanging. Georgie, thank you, buddy, for hanging out. Ben says, great suggestions. Thank you so much. Dude, always. Yeah, and circles are a pain in any type of building. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. So, yeah, when you start introducing pi to the equation, fuck it. It's all out the window at that point, in my opinion. All right. Let's continue on here. Let's get this this bit done here. Now, we need another angle on this, so let's get that cut here. We need a pretty steep angle, so we don't want to cut too much off here. All right, let's see what that looks like. Let's get our tweezers in here so we can kind of hold this a little bit more elegantly. All right. Yeah, that'll do. That's within tolerance. We'll fill any little gaps with super glue. Perfect. Where'd the super... Oh. Put it back on the shelf. Super glue discipline. Boom. All right. Come on. There we are. Okie dokie. So, let's get this piece glued in here. Okay. Looks good, looks good. Yeah, since we have that overhang, then we're not going to be able to square that up on the block. We'll eyeball it. That looks pretty good, actually. All right. All right. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So, we should be at a point to, you know, give you guys a better kind of, you know, idea of what we're doing here, right? So, like I said before, essentially what we're doing is we're making a box. And this is all just geometry, right? So there's our box, the beginning of our weapon. And then this will be mounted under here like that. And yeah, that will look really, really freaking nice. Okay, I'm back at it. I've got the zen. I've got the fucking mojo back, you guys. Here we go. So, yeah, there's just a little gap under there. Let's get back and put a little dab of super glue in there just to fill that void. Boom. And there we are. All right, so now this should be pretty simple. We just need a square strip along that edge. So let's get this squared up here. Boom. And how long are we gonna need? About pencil, pencil, pencil. There it is. About right there. I'm leaving about a 1/2 millimeter overhang to this just so we can trim it later. And we'll come back once this is all glued up, once we've got our box created. What will happen is we will go back and basically re-square everything. We'll switch the sanding block back around to the other side and we'll use this surface, and we will sand all of our open edges here to a perfect square. So we know everything is at a 90-degree angle and perfect to build off of that, right? So again, these 1, 2, 3 blocks are invaluable. They are so freaking useful when it comes to scratch building, modifying, things like that. I can't stress that enough. All right. Okay. Nice. All right. And this will probably be stuck because there was already squeeze out on the piece, but let's see if we can get it. There we go. Yeah, see, I love it because these things just pop off. Even with super glue, it just pops right off of that 1, 2, 3 block. So good. All right. Very nice. Very nice. And you can kind of see in here the overhang that we did right there with this piece. We can then just butt this up right to it and have a really close, tight joint between those two pieces of plastic. So yeah, excellent. So we know pretty much everything is very squared up here at this point, since we're using the 1, 2, 3 block to square it, and we made our, kind of glue lines and everything like that. We're following the edge, all of that good stuff. So we're getting really close to the end here and getting everything together. So we're gonna square up. Come on. There we go. And now what I'm gonna do, so this rise here in level is 2 millimeter. So this is gonna be 1 millimeter here. We've got 1 millimeter thickness. I'm not going to cut anything to fill this this vertical. What I'll do is I'll come back once we lay this strip down and just cut a little piece of 1 millimeter and just lay it in there like that, right? So, you son of a bitch. Jesus, jumped on me. But just lay it in there like that. That'll fill everything in and it'll be perfectly fine. So we'll be good to go. All right, so let's get measured here. And actually, now that I think about it, I really didn't even have to measure that because we could have left an overhang on the inside of the body. Yeah, c'est la vie. All right, and then we only need to glue the one edge because we're not butting up to anything at this point. Oh shit, come on. Okay, there it is. Quickly, quickly, quickly get to the block. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright. That's definitely connected to there. Let's see. Ah, there we are. It's always I always hold my breath when popping a piece off of the 1, 2, 3 block because sometimes the piece will stay attached to the block and not come off with the part that you're building. So sometimes it gets a little hinky. Giovanni says my 1, 2, 3 blocks still in the bag with that goo and still smell like crap. Maybe this weekend I get to clean it. Yeah, dude. So that's normal. Completely normal. Yeah, they smell like absolute shit. That is like machinists, like oil or grease or something like that. And basically that protects the 1, 2, 3 blocks from rusting in transit and everything. So really easy cleanup. Just take some like Dawn, like dishwashing fluid or like a degreaser or something like that. Just scrub them, with like a like a brush that you use on dishes or whatever, and those will get super clean. And then after that, what I do once they're dried off from that kind of initial cleaning process, wipe them down with some good alcohol. Not like good alcohol, but like isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, just like 70, 91%, whatever you have on hand, that'll do the trick. Just wipe that down, and then your blocks will be pristine. So yeah, easy process, but yeah, they're a mess. So if you have like nitrile gloves or anything like that, use those to kind of get them out of the bag, because that oil is disgusting. Ugh, disgusting. So, Gunpla for Joy, what's going on? They have a...
We have a question!
What is your decision point to use super glue versus the green thin Tamiya model cement? Great question. I should mention that I don't use Tamiya Extra Thin anymore. I use this. This is Plastic Magic, and I find this to be way superior to the Tamiya. This can actually glue, plastics that Tamiya can't do. This can glue ABS, this can glue styrene, which is your normal plastic and everything. And I find this just works a lot better. I really enjoy this. But to your point, where is the kind of determination between using that and that, right? Right now, since I'm just getting back into building and everything, and scratch building and things like that, the dexterity in my hands, the muscle memory isn't built up like it had been kind of before my long break. And so personally, I'm not 100% comfortable with glue ups and things like that. For something like we're doing right now, back in the day, I would normally always just use super glue. Now, the reason why I used Plastic Magic on this long run here is because it's so long. If I was to use super glue, I'd have to be ultra careful and accurate and everything. And once I laid this down, I would have to get it up against, the 1, 2, 3 block to square it up within seconds. There's no time, to work at that point. I could have used a thicker CA glue, but again, you still run into that problem. With the Plastic Magic or Tamiya Extra Thin, you have some wiggle room to, for adjustments with this longer run here to get it up against the, the 1, 2, 3 block to square it up and everything. So when I do like plating, like detail plating and stuff like that, over top of what's going to be here, like, all that's all going to be super glue. Simply because I don't want the plastic to melt and squeeze out. I want there to be a nice fine edge to it, or at least an edge that I can, refine down to be fine. So that's one of the big reasons why I use super glue in a lot of plating situations, especially larger plates, because the super glue will cure no matter what, especially with a kicker or an activator. That'll catalyze and crystallize very, very quickly, where something like your solvent glue, that middle part, once the outer edges of the piece cure, that inner part, especially on larger plates, that inner part may never cure. It may stay soft forever because there's no air getting to it. It doesn't have, any way to properly cure at that point. So for larger plating and things like that, I will always use super glue, and even for smaller bits too. I just find the efficiency of super glue to be far superior to, a solvent glue at that point. So for, gluing up, actual model pieces and for seam lines, yeah, I'm always going to use a solvent glue, simply because this is going to physically melt those pieces together, and since it's such a thin surface, that'll cure really nicely, and then you can sand it and clean it and all of that. So the one thing where super glue lacks is on the strength of those very, very thin pieces, like putting together, two model pieces to seam up and everything. That's where super glue loses its integrity. Super glue is better for, higher surface areas and things like that, where the solvent glue is better for lower surface areas, like the edges of a part or something. So that's kind of why I go back and forth with these, and that's kind of why I used the two different types in this glue up here too. So hopefully that answers the question. Great explanation. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Giovanni says, when I got the package from Amazon, my wife came out of the room. She started yelling, "Why does it smell like shit?" So I stopped trying to open it. Giovanni, why does it smell like shit in here? What the hell did you do? Oh my God, I can hear it now. That would have been my ex. Holy fuck. All right, cool deal. What time is it? 1:39. Wow. All right. We're cooking right along here, aren't we, boys? All right. So, with that said, we've got this little wall right there, and then we just need a little bit of filler strip to fill that up here. So we're real close to getting done here. So this last part we'll need to be pretty accurate with. So square up our edge there first, and then did that bevel it? That beveled it. You little shit. Okay. There we go. Much better, much better. So one thing with the chopper, if you're trying to cut off really thin little pieces like that, the blade will have a tendency to skew out, right? And that's what happened with this. I didn't cut enough off of this little strip. I think I would maybe like a 0.5 millimeter or something like that in there. And it didn't have, you know, much to bite into. And with a blade, with any blade, it's gonna, you know, go the path of least resistance. So it just kind of skewed out and cut it at an angle there. So, but we got it nice and square now, so we're in good shape. All right, so that's where it needs to be, right there. Okay. Okay, let's see what we have here. Now that should hopefully fit perfectly. Just a little bit of fine tuning here. A little bit of fine tuning. Okay, let's see what we've got. There we go. There we go. That's nice and tight in there. Yeah. So that's what it should look like right there. Very, very nice and tight, nice and square. All right, let's get this thing out of here and glue it up. There we go. All right. All right, you, all three sides. Let's go. Let's go. Now, this is we need to be a little careful, and we actually need to kind of expand these walls here just so we have a good enough gap to put this in here. All right, let's get this squared up because it is not. Okay, quickly, quickly, quickly. Very good, very good. And like I said, we're going to come back once we get this all buttoned up here and the other side on. We're going to run this along the sanding side. We'll reverse this around and we'll just go along and sand up the whole thing and make this all completely 100% square, 90-degree angles all the way around, so we have great, you know, a great surface to you know, start from. But let's see kind of what we got here. Yeah, so there's our initial geometry, right? And then there's going to be our drum. Yeah, that bevel right there, I think, just makes the whole look. Now, we got a little overhang, so it's not sitting in there flush, and then this just came, whatever. Fuck it, whatever. All right, so we need a little last filler strip in here, and let's get that cut here real quick. Square up the edge. Boom. All right. Excuse me. All right, so we don't need a big, huge strip in here. We just need to fill that in just like that. Let's go super zoom so you can see a little bit better. All right, so yeah, so basically we're just kind of sliding that into the gap here, and that'll be real nice right there. Real nice. All right. Actually, I think what I might do is double up the strip here all the way down, because we're going to need something to connect in here. Where'd the drum go? There it is. We're going to need to connect the drum to something in here, and I don't want this to be just empty, right? So let's do that. Let's get another 3.2 mil strip. What is this? This is 6.3. That's a little bit big. 3.2. Here we go. All right. And then I also want to get some, you know, kind of filler strips in here for structural integrity and everything too. So, all right. Okay, perfect. All right, so what we'll do, instead of applying the super glue to this piece, I'm actually just going to apply it in here, and then that way we can just kind of slide it in and lay it down on that part. Here we are. Get in there, bastard. Use the tweezers as a clamp, just so that it bites in to everything. And we're gonna get a little, reverse this around, we're gonna get a little kicker in here. There we go. And what that does, that starts to crystallize the super glue and cure it super, super quick. Very nice. All right. And then what we'll do also here, just get a little right there. Perfect. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so now we've got we've got a really good bit of plastic in here, 2 mil, to attach our drum to in the future. So we can, you know, drill peg holes in here and connect these two together like that. Magnets maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking pegs because I want it to be a little bit more solid, and I really don't want this thing to come out after it's painted, you know? So yeah, I think that'll look really good there too. All right, perfect. All right, so next, let's get our kind of filler structural strips in here. So I think maybe we only need really 2, maybe one long one along here, and then one kind of right there. So nothing crazy. And it doesn't need to be super accurate, and this isn't, you know, science or anything like that. So we're just gonna go maybe right to about there. Something like that. And this should be thinner. Yeah, okay, cool. So basically like that, right? And that's just going to reinforce the structure of our geometry here, of our box. get it out of there first. And this doesn't have to be glued up fancy or anything like that. We're just going to pop it in and glue it down. There we are. Just like that. All right, good deal. There's our internal structure, and then we just need to cut a little itty bitty strip right here. Maybe right about there-ish. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. All right. And there we go. There is our internal structure for the initial geometry, right? The weapon. The weapon. Boom. All right. Word. All right. Let's see. Brandon, dude. Fell asleep in my car listening to the stream. Starting to get a migraine, unfortunately. Oh, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. That is rough. That is rough. Migraines are no joke. Renee gets migraines all the time, and I feel so bad for her. She's gone through a bunch of different medicines, but I think the one now I think it's starting to work. So, man, I feel for you, buddy. Feel for you. Julia says, Tim, I have found that listening to your live streams while building is very inspiring and motivating. So thanks for bringing back your streams. Dude. Julius. Aw, buddy. Buddy. Oh, I do love that new transition. I appreciate that, dude. More than you know. George, old school Gunpla. He, I rewatched one of his early morning live streams the other day, and he kind of said the same, type of thing. And it's just really good to hear. And a lot of people have mentioned that and, messaged me and stuff and everything. And it's just like, it's such a good feeling, such a good feeling. So thank you. Thank you. So, all right, you guys, what do we got? 7 minutes left? Cool. Let's get the other side glued up here. Now, before we do that, I just want to give a rough sand to all this here, just to even everything up and just kind of roughen it up here. And then, just to be 100% sure, we're going to get our calipers out here, zero it out, and just see. 4.3. And we're just going to take measurements at different places. 4.34. Yeah. 4.35. Yeah. All right, we're good. Well, well within tolerance. Well within tolerance. Yeah. That is, that's nice. That's nice. Very, very good. All right. So, now, since we've got a huge amount to glue here, right? we are not going to be using super glue. We are going to be using plastic magic for this process. Basically the same type of scenario as gluing, two different parts together and things like that, for, like something like this or a body part or something. We've got a lot of edges here, a lot of thin edges. And I need time for proper placement and everything too, to make sure that everything is nice and squared and even on this thing. So with that being said, yeah, we're going to use plastic magic on this and just slather it up and go to town. We're going to get our initial layer here, just to get that plastic familiar with the glue, get it softened up, get it cooking. Okay. All right, so there we are. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. All right, so let's get this up in here. Okay, good. Starting to slide around a little bit. Let's actually get some around the perimeter here. There we go. All right. So there's our initial geometry right now. I absolutely need to clamp this thing together, and to do that, I find that these nice little what are they called? Paper clip binders here do a really good job with clamping pressure. There we are. Move this thing down just a bit. And there we go. That is clamped, and it's gonna cook and marinate, and this whole assembly should be good to go. Sorry, my head. Oh, that wearing that visor around my head, sometimes it starts to ache a little bit, but I'm good. But that should be good to go for this evening's stream, and yeah, this should be all dried, cured, solid. We'll pop it into the 1, 2, 3 blocks, get everything sanded, smooth, squared, 100% perfect. And I'll show you that on tonight's stream. So, all right, you guys, 2 p.m., perfect timing. Here we go. I think we made good progress. Definite bounce back. A definite bounce back from yesterday. Yesterday was rough. I won't lie. But huge improvement today. We got a lot of work done. A lot of progress on this thing. I'm feeling comfortable with this. I'm feeling pretty damn comfortable. So, with that being said, you guys, remember, if you're not willing to learn, nobody can help you. But if you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. So, you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Be safe out there. Build something cool. We'll see you tonight. See ya.